So we're going to make a corn and crab chowder. Now, if you leave the potatoes out, it'll work just as well. The soup's going to taste as great. But we're going to, well, I'll show you. There's a little secret, the way I add the potatoes to this dish. It serves a couple of purposes. But let's start with the foundation of the soup. But we're going to start with a fish stock and a corn stock. Now, before I lose you, you can do this with water. It would work just as well. But I thought it'd be a great chance to show you what stock, how we make the stock. So in here I've got scraps of some celery. See the scraps of the onion, scraps of carrot. So when we use all this stuff in the kitchen, all these bits and pieces are left over. We don't throw them in the garbage. We save them because they're going to be the foundation for our stock. So I'm going to get a pan going here. We're just going to make a little bit of oil, because all I want to do is I want to take some of these veg. We're going to put them in the pan, and we're going to just let them start to cook. We're going to sweat out a little bit of the liquid that's in there. We'll grab our spoon, you mix it all up, and once it gets all browned, then what you do is you take whatever kind of ingredients you want to add. If we want to make this chicken stock, we'd add chicken scraps. Veal stock, you get the point. I'm going to make a fish stock, and one of the greatest ways to make a fish stock is with shrimp shells. The idea is that you want something that's going to give off a lot of flavor, but you don't want something really oily. So for example, salmon skin is not really going to work. It's going to give you an oil slick and not much flavor. Shrimp shells work awesome. And I think the key to making a good stock is, you hear that sizzle? We're getting those vegetables start to cook. We really want to get everything in there sizzling and hot, and we want to start to brown. And you'll actually see the shells start to change color. They're going to get really bright pink. Okay, so what we do is we toss it, we get everything browned up, the shells start to change color, and then what we do is we cover it with water, we let it simmer, and that's what we have right here. Okay, so all this now, all that goodness that's in there is that liquid. We're just going to strain this. As you can see what we have? That's our stock. Okay, and all the rest of this now, we're not going to need any of that anymore. We did the same thing now here with corn. See, it's just kind of got like a little milkiness to it. What we did was we took the corn, fresh corn on the cob, we cut the kernels right off it like we have here. Or as Matt says, kernel clinks. We cut kernel clinks off there, right, Matt? Is that good enough for you, kernel clinks? And what we did is, then you take the corn cobs, after you've cut the kernels off. This is a tongue twister. Wow, this is pretty intense, man. I don't know if I'm going to get through this without making a flub here. But then you just kind of scrape the cobs a little bit, and there's this liquid in there, this milky substance, which is just all that really great, intense flavor. I throw that right in a pot. I throw the cobs in the pot. I do the same thing I did there with the fish stock. A little bit of oil or butter. I get it all browned a little bit, cover with water, let it go for about 20 minutes, and that's how we get our chicken stock. We're going to add a little bit of our stock into our food processor, or your blender if you're cooking along at home with a blender. We're going to take some of that corn that we shucked. We're going to put it right in, because what we want to do is we want to make a puree. Again, this is going to be a base for the soup as well as a thickening agent. The way to do it. I'm going to add a little bit more. Now I'm going to save some of the corn, because when you're making a corn chowder, you want bits of the actual corn kernels to be in the soup. So we're going to put about 2/3 here. I'm going to save about 1/3. So now we've got our pan going with some oil. I'm going to add some bacon. So let me start with the celery. And you can do this any way you like. If you want to do it in bite-sized pieces so that you get little bites as you go, I'm going to do it similar size as we did there. The idea is that I want bits and pieces of celery and carrots and onions. And the nice thing is that with these other ingredients, not only does it add some flavor, it adds a lot of flavor to the soup, we're going to add our onion, our celery, our carrot. We're going to let that go. All right, this is going to go for a couple of minutes. We're going to let that all tenderize, sweat out a little bit. Okay, so the bacon's cooked, the vegetables are cooked, they start to soften up. Now to this, we're going to take that corn puree, we're going to add that right in, and already it's starting to come together. Look at that. See, isn't that nice? I'm telling you, these little simple tricks like that, like the food processor for the corn, and taking the cobs and kind of squeeze all the milk, the corn milk that's in there. All right, so there we go. Now we've got that started. Now to this, all right, that's got to go a little bit more. We're going to let this come to just start to boil, and then we're going to let it simmer. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of cream. Now remember when I was talking about a chowder, I said potatoes, okay? I've got some leftover mashed potatoes. Now, you could go get potatoes, dice them up, add them in here, you could do that. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to put the potatoes right in, because what they're going to do is it's going to make this now a chowder, but also it's going to allow this soup to thicken up without any roux, without any flour or butter or cornstarch or any of those tricks. I think we're going to add a little margarine. Thyme would work really well. I'm just going to put a little bit in here. So again, some fresh herbs. And this is what I have, so that's what we're going to use. To finish this off, we've got some really nice jumbo lump crab meat. We're going to add this right in. Season this whole thing now. So that's going to start to go. We're going to let that come up to a boil. A little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. If you want to, you can add a little bit of Parmesan cheese. I don't think it goes though. I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with cheese and seafood. I know a lot of people talk about that. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think I want to taste that fresh corn, which is in season. I want to taste the crab that's in there. Not only does it taste good, it's also very expensive, so why would you want to mask it up? Now, as you can see, the mashed potatoes are all starting to disappear, see? It's all starting to thicken up, break up in there. You let that go, just start to simmer, lower it, let that go for a little bit. When you're all done, it's what we have right here. Beautiful, look at how thick that is. Nice and thick. Crab and corn chowder. We got our bacon, our celery, our carrots, our onion, our fresh herbs. Now to me, that is not only a killer dish, it's fresh.